Well, hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Gotham Sports Machine. I'm Mark Healy, and he's Jack Healy. Hey, Jack, what's up, buddy?
What's going on? Big day yesterday. Lots of going on. Lots of stuff going on.
It's funny. I was writing my column this week, and I was talking about how there's so much stuff going on right now. WBC, spring training, the Knicks. All this stuff is going on, and it almost caught us by surprise. The first day of the free agent signing, but so many things happened on that first day. Locally, we'll talk about some of the other moves, but locally, obviously, the Jets and Giants made some moves. Who do you think? I mean, I've been listening to all these different, people talk about, oh, the Jets did this, the Giants did this. In your opinion, just based on, the moves, obviously, they're not going to be all the moves the Jets and Giants make. But who do you think had the better day, the Jets or the Giants?
I mean, just in terms of like quality and quantity, I mean, the Jets just did more at the end of the day. Like, it's not like the Giants made good or bad. Like, they just didn't do as much as the Jets. The Jets traded for one of the top safeties in the league, and they added mo multiple guys to that defense, which is really gonna, I mean, the Jets almost were unwatchable for the past few years, and Aaron Glenn's a defensive guy. So if they're gonna become a watchable team and they're gonna form an identity, it's gonna be through that defense.
It's interesting. I wrote about it in my column. WFAN's Evan Roberts, who's a huge Jet fan, he's a ticket holder. He made a good point yesterday, and he talked about the two defensive ends that the Jets picked up, and he said that their stats don't fly off the page, but it seemed to him that the Jets GM really kind of signed guys that he's investing money in these two guys based on what they're going to do as opposed to what they've done. Do you agree with that statement? And do you think that, or do you think that the Jets really those are depth signings to kind of help what they already are good at, and that is stopping the run?
Well, certain positions, like you just take chances like that, especially defensive end, when you haven't had a proven guy in God knows how long. And when you have had a proven guy, you've either shipped them off or like the Jets, they haven't really had established superstars on that defense for quite some time. So you have to take chances on a guy that might not have the numbers and might not be the flashy, like, oh, this is a guy that everybody knows, like Joseph Osai. Only Bengals fans know him for throwing Patrick Mahomes out of bounds and then costing them another Super Bowl. So he again, you said it. These guys, they have talent. It's nothing, no numbers that fly off the page. I like the idea. You want to get these highly athletic guys, these high ceiling guys that might not have the highest floor. It's it's good in theory because I mean they're not making too much money or they're not really breaking the bank for these guys. But if they end up just being a depth signing where they're not really playing regularly and they're not getting in on the field and not getting in the rotations of the D line, then it becomes like we just wasted money on two guys that
Right.
may not even be impactful.
Well, with all the draft picks they have too, I'm sure they're going to try to address the edge rusher, right? With some of those picks,
Probably the second pick.
right? Who do you think they're going to grab?
I mean, there's a few like especially at the combine, there's a lot of guys that after everybody knows Mendoza's going one. Like that's been set since the Raiders got that
But
first
what if
pick.
the Raiders lose that pick? I keep hearing rumors that the Raiders might lose that pick because the NFL, is going to investigate the whole Max Crosby tanking thing. Do you think that's realistic or it's not?
I mean, there have been teams to blatantly tank, like the Jaguars blatantly. They didn't blatantly tank for Trevor, but I mean, the whole year was tank for Trevor, and the Jets were trying to tank for Trevor, and they couldn't even do that. So I mean, I don't think they'll lose the pick. Maybe they could get fined. There could be a penalty. There could be repercussions, but they're not going to lose the number one pick. That's not going to happen. And then outside of that one pick and outside of Mendoza, there really isn't another first round quarterback.
Right.
So it's not really, there's no other guy that the Jets are going to be like. That's their other really important position of need. I mean, it's quarterback is obviously the most important position maybe in sports. So that second pick is going to be huge. It's going to be they're going to set the tone of the draft whether they trade that pick or they take Sonny Styles, who just had a ridiculous combine. Maybe they try to go flashy with him, or maybe they go with one of these proven guys like Orville Reese at Ohio State. It's really on Aaron Glenn and the GM and how they want to go about this. And it seems like every time they have one of these big decisions where it's like this could be the thing that changed the franchise, they always end up doing the wrong thing and messing it up. So
I don't know.
um,
I kind of like what this GM has done so far. I mean, you know, I mean, Douglas made some good moves, but he made some terrible moves, obviously. Even though you and I were like supportive of the Zach Wilson draft, obviously it didn't work out. We'll never know if he gets another opportunity to start in the NFL, but obviously it didn't work, right? So, but this is a situation where I think Moogie has done this. And let's talk about the Minka Fitzpatrick trade and signing. What do you think of that? I mean, obviously you like it, but what do you think of that deal?
I mean, they got him for basically not, like literally nothing, seventh round pick, and then you just had to sign him, and he's not even making that crazy of money. And this guy's a three-time All-Pro, five-time Pro Bowl. Like he's been one of the best safeties in football for quite some time. Even though he had a past 2 years, he hasn't been that level of maybe the best safety in football. But 2023, he was dominant, and the years before that, he was dominant. So. They're getting a guy that it's definitely knows the position, definitely can lead that defense and that secondary. Who they've already added other guys on that in that secondary and on that defense, especially like leadership roles in Demario Davis, David Onimanya, and when you get these veteran guys that actually like know what they're doing and they've been there before, it's a lot easier to bring in like a whole new rookie class to regenerate these defenses. These guys are going to learn from guys who know what they're doing and who've been through it. So I really like that move.
Yeah, I was going to bring up Demario Davis too because if you remember when we went to the Jets game when they played the Falcons, because Jack and I are Falcons fans, we went to go see the Jets play the Falcons a couple of years ago at MetLife, and it was soaking wet. It was raining the whole day. When we were actually sitting in Demario Davis's seats when he was a member of the Jets. Do you remember that? Did you know that?
Like now that you say it, now I do kind of remember it. That was when we met Tevin Coleman's mom too.
Yep, yep. So it was like one of those great days where we were in Demario Davis's seats because my cousin, it was one of his clients, and you know, he knew Jack and I wanted to go to the game, and he just took us up. I go these, and he just said, thank Demario Davis. He's the one who gave up his seats. And then as we were waiting for the tickets at the ticket window, Jack and I ran into Tevin Coleman's mom because we noticed like 20. We knew who it was, but we thought maybe somebody
Well,
just
she was
liked
a
it.
rookie at the time, and she
Right,
was wearing a
right.
Tevin Coleman jersey, and it's like, who else is gonna have a Tevin Coleman jersey in
And
New
she,
York?
and she was the nicest lady, and she, like we're Falcons fans. She was, obviously. So that was really cool. Anyway, um, but speaking of Demario Davis, obviously the first initial reaction a lot of people had, well, he doesn't really have much left in the tank, but he's going to change the leadership in the locker room. And I always thought he was a very solid player, and obviously he's not the player he was. I think he was 37 years old. So what do you think? Do you think that he's got something left? Is he somebody that can help that defense, or is he just there as kind of like shake up the locker room a little bit and be like another coach on the field?
I mean, similar to Minka Fitzpatrick, this guy's an all-pro, and it's not like he was an all-pro 10 years ago. Like, yeah, he's 30, 36, 37 years old, but he made his first Pro Bowl at 30 years old. So he didn't become an established great player in this league until he was older. It's not like he's one of these guys who was great at 25 years old and hasn't done anything. He also had 145 tackles and six tackles for loss last year while playing basically I think he played every single game. So it's not like you're not signing a 38-year-old guy who's just gonna come in and like be half-assed, like not really they're signing a viable starting middle linebacker in this league. He can be the captain of your defense. He's good in the run game. maybe not the fastest guy anymore in the pass game, but he knows the defenses. He knows the scheme. So he's definitely, I think he's going to be an effective player. It all depends, obviously, on the rest of the defense. Because, I mean, if you, everything helps each other out. You need a good D line so that the corners aren't guarding guys for 45 minutes and they're not getting tired. You need good linebackers to stop the run, and you need good safeties to cover all the deep balls. So if everything's clicking, that's the guy you want in your middle calling all the shots. He's one of the best to ever do it, especially in this generation of football.
And obviously, look, the Jets were not going to, I tried to explain to people, Jets weren't firing Aaron Glenn after 1 year. Even though it was a disaster of a year and really didn't help himself by being like truculent with the media. And I know like you and people, there are other people I know you could care less how a coach is with the media. Um, but look, that affects perception. Whether you agree with it or not, it does affect perception. And he has said some dumb things about like, play calling is my superpower and stuff like that. Look, I loved Aaron Glenn when he was a player. Obviously, he did a really good job when he was with Detroit. Last year was a disaster. And I think the length of contract and how much they're paying him certainly played into the fact that they didn't fire him. But they basically let him revamp the entire staff, the coaching staff. They're getting players that he's familiar with or that he likes. Everybody seems to have a connection. Uh, who's the guy that was on the Falcons last year that the Jets signed? I mean, he had,
Onyemata.
yeah. So he, like in one of the things I read is that Aaron Glenn liked him because I guess was he on
Well,
Detroit at one point or
Onyemata credits him for really transforming his career and becoming like he's become over the past 5, 6 years one of the better interior D tackles in football.
yeah.
For I think it was in New Orleans.
Yeah, no, you're right. And certainly we're going to miss him, but this isn't about the Falcons right now. Um, so, obviously, so they had a good day, right? They had a good first day. But again, like as you said, the most important position on the field is quarterback. Justin Fields not coming back. I don't even know who would be slated as their backup at this point. I mean, is it still Tyrod Taylor? Is he still under contract?
No, he's a free agent. I
He's a
think
free
Fields
agent.
is under contract.
Yeah, but I don't think he's coming. You think he's coming back?
Well, they don't have anyone else, so I mean, uh,
Well, like there's a big rumor that Frank Reich, the new offensive coordinator, is going to be picking the quarterback, and they're talking like Carson, they're talking about
Wentz.
Carson Wentz. I almost said Carson Benj, but he plays for the Mets. Um, and the people say, well, if that's the guy he's going to pick, then they made the wrong choice at offensive coordinator. I mean, I actually look, he might not have been a great head coach, but he certainly did very well as offensive coordinator with the Eagles. So, is this one of those situations where you think the Jets should just let Frank Reich kind of decide who the quarterback is going to be, or do you have an opinion on where they should go and what they should do? Because I know a lot of people were talking about Tua as the Jets quarterback once it became clear that the Dolphins were going to release him, and obviously he didn't wait; he signed right away with the Falcons. Where do you think the Jets are going to go? And if you were the Jets, who would you want in that spot?
Well, first off, I would keep Fields just for the fact, again, you don't have a quarterback. So if you don't bring him back, not only do you have to bring in a starter, you also have to bring in a backup and maybe in a third string, depending on who your starter is. Like if you're gonna go out and get a veteran, maybe a Kirk Cousins or Kyler, those are probably your two best options right now. You would I'd keep Fields if I went and got a Kirk or a Kyler because he's already proven he can he didn't have a great year, but he proved he can play football. I mean, he's a great athlete. He can't re It's the Jets. They don't have an offensive line. They don't have receivers. Their best receiver is a tight end who's not like he's more of like a blocking kind of guy. I mean, he has hands. He can get open, but he's not really this vertical threat tight end. And you're expecting Justin Fields to like throw 30 touchdowns and 5 interceptions like it's never gonna happen. But he is a great athlete. He can move the ball down the field. He can take hits, and you
You,
have him under contract, and he's young.
you've
So
always been a Justin Fields guy.
I always
Oh,
had, and because he was, I mean, he's ultra talented coming into the league. Then he played for the worst offensive line ever in Chicago, looked decent at and even really good at times. And then they move on from him, finally go and get a team for a different quarterback, Caleb
Right.
Williams, and look at them now. They look good because they actually have an O-line and they actually have weapons around them. And he goes from the Bears to the Jets, who are maybe even worse. He never really got a fair shake. And I think the best thing for him, obviously, would be to go somewhere else. But it doesn't seem like anywhere else really has a spot, like a viable job for him. This might be his best shot at getting another, even he might not get the starting job, but eventually fall into a starting job. There's no one really in that first round unless they somehow can call up the Raiders and trade up and trade everybody that they have ever had for him.
I don't think
They're
that's
not getting
happening.
Mendoza, and there's no other first round quarterback that you're going to even think about. All
Right.
these other guys are like third, fourth, fifth round guys, which could be maybe the Jets look into that, maybe a Ty Simpson or a Garrett Nussmeier, but you're not investing everything into that guy. He's not your franchise guy.
Do the Jets have two picks in the first round, right?
The second and the 16th.
Yeah, they're not taking any of those guys at 16 either, I don't think.
No.
They could trade down and get multiple picks and then
Yep.
take somebody like, later in the first round or in the, high in the second round, I guess. Um, here's the thing, we'll switch over to the Giants. The Giants didn't do a lot. Obviously they signed Likely to a 3-year deal. That's a Harbaugh connection. He comes from the Ravens. Did they overpay for him, or is he the kind of tight end that is going to help Jackson Dart from, like, getting his brains, destroyed every other play? Maybe now they run a little bit more of a traditional offense, two tight ends. It was Likely. Was that an overpay, or is this a guy who's going to fit nicely into what Harbaugh wants to do with the Giants?
Yeah, I think they overpaid him a tiny bit just from the fact that he's never been a starting tight end in the NFL. But again, they're paying him like the Jets did with Osai and Ibare. They're paying these guys because they don't know. Well, not that they don't know. They think they have the potential to become these productive starters that
Right,
they've shown to be in spurts. But that's the thing. In the NFL, like little spurts, you can look really good, but when you're a full-time guy, it's a lot different because you're taking on the hits, you're taking on even more responsibility. Everybody's looking at you now. No one's really, you're not going under the radar anymore. So one thing he has put up numbers likely. He has been solid in that tight end two role, but he's had Mark Andrews in front of him, who's the franchise leader
awesome.
in touchdowns for
Right,
and like catches and damn near everything for the Ravens. So he was never gonna take over that role. He was never gonna really and the Ravens don't even throw the ball that much to begin with. They're a
right.
run first team. So you're the tight end two on a run first team, you're never gonna really get the looks and the numbers you want. And he even then he still put up games, whether Andrews was a little beat up
Right.
or he just had his spurts and moments where he looked really good and Harbaugh clearly liked him. So
Yeah, well,
that's why.
yeah. I think the Giants. I think Harbaugh was, obviously, I know you wanted Kubiak for the Falcons. I wanted Harbaugh. Harbaugh was my number one choice once he became available. But Stefanik was somebody I felt comfortable with. But with Harbaugh, you know that the Giants are not going to be. You just know that they're going to be better. They may not be a playoff team. The Giant fans always lose their minds. They make some improvements, and then all of a sudden they're the best team in the NFC East. They'll start downplaying the Eagles. They're downplaying the Commanders, downplaying the Cowboys. And look, we all do that. We're all guilty of that, overrating our team if we like the moves, if we agree with the moves that a front office has made or that a coach has said or whatever. We always overrate our team because we want to look forward to a season. But the NFL is different because it's every week means something. Every single week. There's no such thing as, oh, well, we need to win that game, right? So I just have this feeling that while you and I on the outside looking in might think that the Giants are improving, or could get better, we all know that, well, the Giant fans in our lives are all going to overrate the Giants to the point where you can't even talk to the Giant fans anymore, which is sad because my dad, your pop is the biggest Giant fan in the world, but he doesn't overrate his team.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's been
He doesn't overrate his team, but he loves Jackson Dart. We know that.
he
Um,
didn't like Daniel Jones.
no, he did not. I'm laughing because it's an inside joke. All right, so the Giants cut. I can't say his name. That's why I'm not a play-by-play guy, folks. Okereke?
Bobby Okereke.
Okereke? Okay. Oh, that's not bad. All right, so Okereke gets cut. A lot of Giant fans are like, "Why are you cutting this guy? He's a good player." Harbaugh's like, "We want better players," so they go out and they sign Tremaine Edmonds. Is
Mhm.
that? I mean, I know Edmonds is a solid player, but is he that much of a upgrade over Okereke?
I mean, it's pretty much a lateral move. Right now, Okereke is probably better, but Edmonds is younger, probably gonna make the same amount of money, and he's a little bit. I mean, they're different. Okereke is a little smaller. Like Edmonds is a massive human being.
Right.
He's he's gonna be the enforcer in the middle of that defense, while Okereke is a little more of a field general, calling the shots kind of guy, a little more like Demario Davis like. But Edmonds, I mean, Horrible has run his defense through that middle linebacker for a while. Roquan Smith, most recently, Ray Lewis. Like he likes to have that big time middle linebacker. And Edmonds has shown at times he can be that guy. So I mean, I wouldn't say it's an upgrade, but it's not a downgrade. It's a pretty lateral move. And he's younger, so that's always better.
Oh yeah, sure. Okay, so we went through the Giants, we went through the Jets. Obviously there's a lot more time, obviously, with the signing period. But it's funny, before I ask you about the other moves around the NFL, I know you're on Twitter all the time. Did you notice like that this time around, as opposed to the last few years, that there's more of these fake NFL insider accounts that look legit, but like they say the most stupid things. Like there was something yesterday that I thought was real because the way it was presented, it looked real. That Brees Hall was getting traded to, uh, I forget where it was, but it was like this. It looked realistic. And then I said, you know what? That doesn't sound right. So I looked at it and I was like, oh, there's no way this is real. Do you think that there's more of that this time around, or is it just because the way the NFL signing period is set up that it just kind of happens all at once? I mean, what do you think?
I mean, I see it all the time. It's just that's just social media now.
Ugh,
For every like you can only count on the top guys. You can't like you might get a big scoop from like a not well-known source every once in a while, but like I for football, if it's not Rappaport, it's not Schefter. Like until it goes through them, I'm not gonna pay attention to it because you got Richard Johnsons, you got all these like rando accounts that
right,
again they look real and they'll make it look real,
right.
but
There's that
you can't
Steinberg
trust it.
guy. There's that Leslie Steinberg guy that like
Yeah.
looks like he's like a giant like insider, and he's just the worst, you know. Um, but there are guys. There are NFL writers, there are guys out there that and women as well that do they do break news, but it's just unless they're working for an outlet that you've heard of, it's always hard to kind of take it as gospel truth unless Shefty or what's the other guy's name, uh,
Rappaport.
Rappaport, like, unless they confirm it, it's you just can't take it seriously. Um, so
We've seen way too many big deals fall through too. Like from
right.
even with some of these top guys have reported wrong, whether it's an arson judge, whether
Yep.
it's
Yep.
a trade just falling
Right.
through.
Well, because they're breaking it to be first,
Yep.
it's always better to be right than to be first. And when guys aren't working or guys and gals aren't working for, and ESPN, or they're not working for, the New York Times, whatever, they feel like maybe that'll make their career if they break it. But, you're also taking the chance that if you don't break it, and you say that it's a done deal, and it's wrong, no one will ever trust you again. So, this to me, unless you have it, unless you have a primary source, there's no point in even going forward with it anymore.
Oh, we actually got a
Uh,
little we got some Giants little Giants news right here. They brought back Micah McFadden to
ah,
boost that linebacker core.
okay. Well, there you go.
Beat up
Breaking
last
news
year,
on the
but
podcast. Breaking news on the podcast. Good
yeah,
job, Jack.
he's a
Um,
solid player. I always liked Micah McFadden.
so we have a couple of minutes. We have 2 minutes, quick. 3 minutes. What are the top three moves of day one of the NFL trading?
I'd say the biggest move everyone's really going to talk about is Mike Evans to San Fran.
Yep.
No one really saw that coming. I mean,
No, no,
Evans
definitely not.
hinted, and his agent hinted here and there that he was going to talk to other teams. But I mean, if you look interviews in the past, before this like coming off season, he's always said he wanted to retire in Tampa. He wanted to be a Buck for life, Buck for life. And then now it's coming out apparently that him and Bowles might have had a little dispute.
Ugh.
Maybe it's him in the front office.
Uh,
And now he's a 49er. So that's gonna
but
be
I don't feel bad for the Tampa fans.
oh yeah, I don't at all.
I don't
I
feel
don't
bad
at
at
all.
all. See ya, Mike. Um, what two more moves? Two more moves that you liked.
I say well one I didn't love, but it was really big was the Alec Pierce signing. He signed for a lot of money, almost
The
30
Colts,
million a
right?
year. He's a very good player, but top 10 receiver money,
No.
risky. But they also traded Pittman
Right,
to Pittsburgh's, so that's gonna make Pierce the number one now. So we're really gonna see if he can handle that. Like, because Pittman was getting all the attention. Pittman was the guy that everybody was worried about. He's a guy who could run every route and catch almost every
right.
ball. He's
What
having
about
100 catches a year.
what about my franchise running back Ken Walker on my fantasy team?
Yeah,
Love it.
that was gonna be my last big move is KC getting. I mean, Kansas City, the one thing they've been missing the past few years is that consistent run game. Because he's been hurt and he hasn't been the same since that
I'm going
rookie
to give you the
season.
credit, though. I think you're the one that told me to draft him. So
I know a thing or two.
you
Winner
do,
of,
you
of
do. I
said
always
fantasy
talk to
league.
Jack before I do my fantasy team. But then Algier to Arizona, and I was going to be a
Uh,
number one back. So I got him, I got Harvey, and I got Ken
well,
Walker.
yes and no. He's gonna be in a weird situation. I didn't love that for him because
He's
there's
kind
like
of in the same situation, right?
no, well, no, he's not in the same situation. He doesn't have Bijan in front of him. Like
Right.
Bijan in front of you,
But they love Connor there, don't they? Love Connor.
he also just snapped his leg in half last year, so who
That's
knows
true.
how he comes back.
That's
And they
true.
have two or three other guys that are like it's kind of like him, like on the brink of like
Right.
could they be the guy or
Well, look, you and I have seen the guy. You and I have seen the guy. But people don't know Algier like his rookie season. He ran for 1,000 yards. So I mean, this is a guy who knows. He's not just a battering ram. He also could be a feature back.
yeah. And he's also had the most carries without a fumble in NFL history. So it's not like this guy
Right.
isn't reliable.
Right. So last thing, the last 60 seconds. Jack has been a Tua fan forever. So when the Falcons, our team, signed Tua yesterday for what, like $1 million,
Yeah.
1.3 million. To me, whether I like Tua or don't like Tua, it is an absolute slam dunk. Do you agree?
100%. It's two a time.
And I
I
love
love
the
Penix.
fact,
Penix is my guy, but he's the perfect backup.
oh, absolutely. All these people talking about there's going to be a competition. There's no
Well,
competition.
there could be
I guess. I guess
because
if
people
if Penix
this guy
isn't
played.
ready,
He's always been best in good weather conditions,
right?
and we're playing in a dome. So
Well, look, I mean, we're not going to do a Gotham Gridiron, Gotham Sports Machine podcast on the Falcons, but if any Falcon podcasters out there want to have us on to talk Falcons, we'll be happy to join and happy to join in and talk. But that's our Gotham Sports Machine podcast for today. Make sure you go to the Gotham Sports Machine YouTube page and on Spotify. Subscribe for free. Let us know how we're doing. And Jack, I'll see you later, buddy. We'll watch the WBC tonight.
yeah, take care.